Hi fifth graders, you are watching this video on December 9th. It is day 5 of our persuasive writing unit. So today we're going to think about our audience, our reasons, and find some evidence for our persuasive writing piece. We'll work on considering our audience when evaluating our reasons and evidence with the goal of convincing our reader, and writing convincing reasons with good evidence to convince our audience of our claim. So you'll need your writer's notebook and a pen or pencil. If you don't have those items, go ahead and pause the video and go grab them, and then hit play when you're back. We're going to start with our warm-up. So open up your notebook and put today's date, 12/9/2020. All right, so for your warm-up today, you're picking one of these 4 orange choices. Imagine that you want to convince a parent of one of these things: to let you stay up later, to buy you a new video game or the latest gadget, to let you eat more candy, or to give you more allowance. So choose one of those, and for the next 4 minutes, you're going to make a list of reasons. If you were trying to convince your parents to give you more allowance, what would your reasons be? For example, I could buy more books. I wouldn't bug my parents for money. I could buy gifts for my sister. I would learn how to manage my money better. Making a list of reasons. It's totally fine to use bullet points and short sentences or phrases as your reasons. All right, your 4 minutes starts now. is up, put your pencil down. I hope you came up with some awesome reasons to try to convince your parents of one of those. So let's go over some key vocabulary words for today. The first word is evaluate. This means to judge or determine the significance, worth, or quality of something. You might weigh the pros and cons. For example, I evaluated the pros and cons of getting a parakeet and decided that I'm not quite ready to own a bird. And the word convince, to persuade or cause someone to believe firmly in something. For example, I convinced my friend that an apple is a healthier snack than a piece of pizza. And the word evidence, proof or data that proves something. For example, the jury had a great deal of evidence to sort through in order to reach a verdict. So we've been doing an example persuasive planning piece on zoos. And I'm going to go through that example today, and you're going to apply the strategies that I'm using to your ideas about video games. So the first thing I'm going to do with my piece about zoos is I'm going to think about who is my audience. Who am I trying to convince that zoos are important? Am I trying to convince zookeepers? I mean, they probably care a lot about zoos, but they probably already agree with me. They probably already think that zoos are important, so I don't really need to convince them. What about my friends? I might have some friends that don't think zoos are important, so I might want to convince them. But do my friends have any power to do anything about zoos? I don't really think so. So who else could I convince? What about someone who has power, like a leader, like maybe our governor? Might I want to convince our governor that zoos are important and to continue to fund zoos? Yeah, I'm going to go with that one. So my audience is going to be our governor, Gretchen Whitmer. So I want you to pause and think about your claim and reasons about video games that you wrote yesterday. Think, who is your audience? Who are you trying to convince? Is it your parents? Is it a teacher? Is it family? Is it friends? Who are you trying to convince about video games? Take a minute and jot down who your audience is on your boxes and bullets template. Okay, once you have your audience written down, we're going to keep going. Now that you've decided who your audience is, let's evaluate your reasons. We want to see if the reasons that we thought about are really going to convince that person, that audience. So here is my first reason. One reason zoos are important to animals all over the world is because they give big and small rescued animals a place to live. So I want to ask myself, does that reason seem like it will convince my audience, Gretchen Whitmer? Is this something that's going to convince her? Do I think she cares about rescued animals needing a place to live? Yeah, I do think she does, because Governor Whitmer probably doesn't want homeless animals all over our state. So I think this is a strong reason. I think this will be convincing for her. What about my next reason? Another reason zoos are important to animals all over the world is because they teach us about animals from different regions. This reason might not be as strong at convincing the governor. This reason seems to be more about teaching us, education, which is maybe important to the governor, but maybe not as important as making sure there aren't homeless animals all over the state. So that reason's just okay. So I'm going to rate that one okay. What about reason number 3? Additionally, zoos are important to animals all over the world because they provide research to help animals live better lives. Okay. Do I think Governor Whitmer will care about that reason? Will that be convincing for her? Research to help animals live better lives. Again, it might not be quite as strong at convincing the governor. I'm going to assume she loves animals and she wants us to know more about them, but I don't know that for a fact, so I'm not sure that's going to be really convincing for her. So I'm thinking that one is just okay as well. So I've got one really strong reason I think is going to convince my audience, and I've got two that are just kind of okay. So maybe I can find some really good evidence for these two reasons that will make them stronger. So I want you to take a minute and go through your reasons that you've listed about video games and think about your audience. Will they convince your audience? I want you to rate your reasons as strong. Yeah, I really think this is going to convince my audience. And okay, this reason's okay. So go ahead and do that. You can put a check next to them if you think they're really strong, or you can write the words okay next to them if you think they're okay. Okay, do you have any reasons that need to be changed? Because maybe they're not strong or okay now that you think about your audience and know who your audience is. So if you have any reasons that you don't think are strong or okay, I want you to cross them out and I want you to write a new reason. Go ahead and pause the video while you do that and hit play when you're done. So now you've rated your reasons, either strong or okay, and rewritten them if you needed to adjust them now that you know your audience. So our next job is going to be to find some evidence. So I've got my claim, zoos are important to animals all over the world. I've got my first reason. One reason zoos are important to animals all over the world is because they give big and small rescued animals a place to live. I need to find some evidence. So the resource that I'm going to use today is Discovery Education. This is located on Clever. So I'm going to go to Clever and I'm going to find Discovery Education. And this is a really great resource because it has videos that I can watch that are pretty short about certain topics. Mine looks just a little different than yours because I have the teacher version, but you'll get here the same way by going to Clever and finding Discovery Education. Once you're there, you want to look for the magnifying glass. Click on it, and I'm going to do a search on zoos. When you do this a little bit later, you'll be searching about video games because you're trying to find some evidence for your video game piece. I'm going to type in zoos, and I see that several videos come up. Some are quite long, 45 minutes, a live Earth Day visit about polar bears. That doesn't really sound like it's going to help me with evidence about why zoos are good for animals. It might be fun to watch, but it's not exactly what I'm looking for. So I'm going to keep going. Stuff you should know. Zoos are popular because they allow visitors to see wild animals. That could be helpful. The London Zoo conducts an animal census. Polar bears. So I'm going to, there's lots and lots and lots of choices. So I'm going to pick one or two videos today that I feel like will help me get some evidence for my topic. So I'm going to look at the little blurbs here to see if they hint at anything about helping animals. The London Zoo counts each animal to help manage breeding. That could be helpful because that's talking about animals reproducing, possibly animals that are endangered. So I want to find some videos that I think are going to help me, and then I'm going to watch them. Okay, and I'm going to collect some evidence, and I'm going to write my evidence on my boxes and bullet template. So I've got my big claim, my reason number one, and then underneath that I've got my bullets for evidence. I'm going to write my evidence there. If I find some evidence for reason 2 or reason 3, I can jot that down. We don't expect you to find all of your evidence today, but we do expect you to find some. So by the time you're done today, you should have a few of your bullets complete with some evidence from Discovery Education. Okay, so your job is going to be to find some evidence and fill it in where it fits. If it goes with reason 3, you'd put it down here. If it goes with reason 2, here. Reason 1, here. So that's what you're going to work on today. And when you have watched 1 or 2 videos on Discovery Education and gathered some reasons, some evidence, you're going to post that on Schoology. When you post your updated boxes and bullets template on Schoology, you should have your audience listed. See, there's a spot for it right at the top, audience question mark. You can write it right next to that. You should have rated your reasons as strong or okay, just like we practiced together. So reason number 1, you would have strong or okay. Reason number 2, strong or okay. Reason number 3, strong or okay. And you should have found some evidence. Okay, so that's what we'll be looking for when we take a look at your boxes and bullets templates on Schoology today. And we will keep going with this work tomorrow. Nice job today.